ceviche with all these fresh vegetables. We're going to have cheese quesadillas, blackened shrimp, and guacamole. So we're going to start out with our ceviche first. Now, I love this. I love making ceviche because it's all of these fresh vegetables. Today we're putting Roma tomatoes, about 5 of them, half of an English cucumber. It's the long ones you find in the grocery store, and I prefer those. They have fewer seeds in them. A little bit of celery, about a half of a good-sized onion, 1 jalapeno, 1 yellow squash, about a third of a bell pepper, and 1 avocado. Now, last night I started the shrimp. And what you have to do with the shrimp is get about 6 to 8 limes and juice them and let them sit in the juice. And that actually, there's a chemical reaction with the citrus that cooks the shrimp. See how pink it is and cooked? So that's what you start with. And I got that ready last night, so we just pour this in the bowl. Now, our children aren't crazy about ceviche, so I usually fix that on the nights that they're doing something or out of the house for Glenda and myself. But you add in all your ingredients except for your avocado, and that's just a decoration to put on top, or you can chop it and put it right into the recipe. But you just add everything to this little lime and shrimp mixture. What's so good about this is it's all fresh vegetables. Now this is a great, great summer dish. It's so light and refreshing and healthy. It's very healthy. And the prep work for all these vegetables took me about an hour to cut everything up like I like it. You can, my recipe has things in it that you won't find in a typical Mexican ceviche recipe. I add some of the vegetables that we love, and so mine's got a little variation to it. Now we've got shrimp in this. This is an ideal recipe for vegetarian. You can make it with just the lime and the fresh vegetables, without the shrimp. So, and then what we do with this, for about an hour, this will sit in the refrigerator. Alright, I've added about a half a cup of fresh chopped cilantro to this. Once again, very fortunate to come out of the garden. Winter's coming though, so I'll be buying it at the grocery store. And then for the things I've got a little chili salt that I really love. So when stuff calls for salt, I use some of this, especially in my Mexican dishes. Now, you can use a little bit of tomato sauce. Most ceviches, the bases are, oh great, I'm going to fight with ketchup. Most of the bases are red. Well, you can use a tomato sauce. I use Roma tomatoes in mine, so there's not a whole lot of sauce that comes with that. Here we go. We need about a tablespoon of ketchup. And we got it. Oh, we need a tablespoon of Worcestershire. And about a teaspoon of hot sauce. Whatever hot sauce you prefer. So it gives it that little bit of kick. And you can add however much you want actually. I mean, this is all about flavors and tastes that you like. And you stir it up real good. And you let this refrigerate for about 30 minutes or so. Just so all the flavors will meld, and a little bit of salt and pepper. chop up a little bit of the avocado. We prefer it in it. Some people use it just as a garnish. Great, great, healthy food. And this will sit while we do our guacamole and our blackened shrimp and our cheese quesadillas. This is your appetizer or soup, if you will, to start the meal with. And that is ceviche. For the next part of our meal, we're going to make guacamole from scratch. Now, there are kits you can buy in the store, little bags over in produce. But you probably have all these spices in your own cabinet, so why pay $2 for that when you make it yourself? And I start with good fresh avocados, aren't too hard, and I just do it with a spoon. Get every bit of it out, and you're getting it ready for your dip, guacamole dip while you're at it. There's our avocado. Alright, and into this, we add cilantro. You don't have to add a whole lot because you're just using one avocado. I use some fresh diced onions, fresh diced jalapenos, squeeze of lime, a little bit of crushed red pepper, a little bit of hot sauce. I don't put much because the wife doesn't tolerate it very well. Salt. I always got to have salt. Avocados, as much as I love them, they have no taste. Again, I put a little bit of my chili sauce, salt in there I like. And I chop up one hard-boiled egg. And I just dice this up. Now be careful, don't cut your hands. But this is just easier and neater than putting it down on the cutting board. I just dice that up. Mix that in. Now if you want to put a little bit of tomato in here, that's okay too. But we like ours this way. I've been making guacamole since I was in my teens. Now Mexican and all is very popular. Alright, and then we want to, you always got to taste your food. You don't know if it's any good or not. Oh yeah. Alright, very good. Now my last ingredient is garlic powder. I did about half a teaspoon. And I like for it to be very fine. So I just stick it in the mortar and pestle for a little bit and get it real fine. And that's our guacamole. And we're going to set that in the refrigerator and let it sit while we do the cooking on the stove. Alright, now we're moving on to the part of the meal. It's cheese quesadillas. Now these are so easy. There's nothing to them. I don't change anything. It's just a flour tortilla and just a little bit of olive oil. Not a lot in the pan. Get your pan good and warm. Throw it in there. Add cheese. Even my son can make these. Now you want to put a good amount of cheese. Alright. You flip over your little quesadilla and smush. And let it fry on that side for a couple minutes or so, and then you're going to flip it. These are so easy, and my kids love them. And that's basically all there is. You just want this flour tortilla to get browned a little bit, and you have cheese quesadillas. For the next part of our meal, we're doing the blackened shrimp. I've just used a little blackened seasoning that I bought at the grocery store. Put a good bit on there. I try not to put a whole lot, but the secret to cooking good shrimp is not to overcook it. A lot of people have the misconception that you want to make sure they're all balled up. They're in a ball to make sure they're done, but once they're that done, they're tough. So you throw them in the pan with the seasoning on there. A little bit of olive oil, not much. Now we're cooking. That coal hit that olive oil and it had to sizzle a little bit. Alright. This is the last part of our meal and we will be ready to eat supper. Doesn't this look good? Alright, I'll get it all plated and we'll be back in just a second. And now we're ready for our dinner. We have ceviche, which is like a soup or a little appetizer. We have our guacamole with chips. We have our quesadillas and our grilled blackened shrimp. Sour cream and a little guacamole, a little hot cocktail sauce there with horseradish. And of course, the lime margarita. Thanks for cooking with Julie. We'll see you next time.